What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the All Things Geekery podcast. It's episode number 10, and we are going to be talking Destiny 2 and the PC beta. We're going to review everything that we got to experience these last couple of days, things that we liked, things that we didn't. So let's jump into things. I'm your host, Detached.
Hey guys, and I'm Victus. Let's start the show.
Well, guys, welcome back to the show. I hope you all have had a fantastic week. We had a wonderful time in the Destiny 2 PC beta that released a couple of days ago. Victus and I were very hop on top of that and actually jumped in a couple of nights in a row. We got some really good time in Crucible, the PvE, and we're going to break our thoughts down. Our first topic of the night is basically the look of the game, the graphics. They were freaking amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm in love. Coming from the console, I didn't really know what I was missing. And you play Destiny 1, you play Destiny 2 on the console, like, oh, it's a gorgeous game, great landscapes and great artistry, and then you load it up on a PC that you can run ultra everything on and get that anti-aliasing going and field of view and widescreen. And oh my goodness, I don't know if I could leave now. I really don't.
There was the loading screen when you're at your ship and you've ported and you're actually like time traveling now, right? You get all the crazy psychedelic colors. That was mind-boggling. Like, I just wanted to sit there and look at that screen for the rest of my life, ever. Like, on anything, I could just literally watch that.
Yep. Most of the time, it was like, I want that as my background. Where's my screensaver? I want that to be my screensaver.
That screen right there. the graphics, like you said, you just fell in love with it instantly. As soon as I booted the game up, the first thing that I saw was the crispness and the detail at the opening screen when you get to pick your character between the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock, and looking at the color variances and the differences on the outfits and the uniforms and the armor, things that are pretty cool on the Xbox and PS4 were just absolutely mind-boggling on the PC. The crispness of the graphics were way, way better.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was like, this is how we wanted to see Destiny, and we didn't really know what we were missing out on. I mean, you could say that about a lot of the games, but along with the graphics itself, and then it comes secondhand is now we have an increase in frames. Our frames. Some of us playing on 60 frame monitors. Some of us had the joy of playing on 144 frames per second monitors, and going into that, everything was just so fluid. It was amazing. Picking your character, just moving stuff around. It's like, what have I been missing? What is this?
There was like
new utopia.
Void. Yeah, there was a void. It seemed. It's like, wow, all of this stuff I've never. It was like I was a baby and I was seeing things for the first time.
And for how long and how many hours we put into Destiny, being able to play a game that we've put many hours into with now the graphics and frames per second and everything we need to see every minute detail and enjoy it even more was just fantastic.
Yeah, so opening up, I'm a hunter. I love the way the hunter looks. The Destiny 2 version of the hunter and the outfit that you got during the beta, the way the cloak flowed in this one versus the Xbox console version, you had what seemed like a real actual piece of cloth just kind of waving in the wind at that opening screen. There was no trippiness. There was no edginess to it. It literally looked like a real piece of leather and cloth just kind of flopping in the wind there. And when you actually hopped in game, that very first opening area, you get to turn around and see some of the. So I dropped the graphics down to like 30 frames and as low as they could go, just to kind of see what it would look like. And it looked like absolute trash. It really did. I'm like, this is what Xbox looks like, and this is what we thought used to be awesome. and then you pop it up to the 60 frames or maybe even higher, depending on what your machine can do and your monitor and your refresh rate, and ultra of everything. And the detail became so alive, and it just popped on the screen. Everything from watching bullets fly out of your gun to the exhaust that popped out of your barrel to the grenades. I think the coolest thing was actually watching the jumps and the actions. It was kind of hard to play, really, because you just kind of stand there and watch things. It was just very, very detailed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I made 3 tunes on the console beta, all 3 tunes, and after the first time watching the Gull intro or anything like that, I skipped through it, whatever. But going back through and watching on the PC, it was like I was watching a movie. Everything was crisp, everything was fantastic. Even as soon as I popped in the game, I just kind of wondered again. Even though I'd explored it all on the console, I was checking everything out for the first time again.
Yeah, going back and actually watching that multiple times with each of the characters, I wanted to see it just because of the different colors that you had. You've got the Warlock that's got the blacks and the golds. The Hunter was very blue, which I love blue anyway, so that's kind of what I orient to when I see things. And then you had the Titan, which was very bright white and red. And when people started talking about this game's going to run 60 frames per second and it can be uncapped, but the last couple of days, just kind of watching Twitter and some of the streams and watching some of the YouTubers out there, they talked about having some of the lag that came in, and some of the frame rate drops were down in like the 20s. So that kind of had me worried when I first jumped in, but I honestly never experienced any of the frame rate drops that some of the people talked about. I wasn't streaming and I wasn't recording. I was literally just playing. So that may have been a difference too.
It could have been. And I mean, with any PC port, I mean, I would, from the research been done on this, I wouldn't even call it a port. I would say they remade it for PC. They really went out of their way to make sure that it ran as fluid as possible on a PC. But with that, you're going to have a game that's running against multiple different drivers, multiple different types of hardware. I mean, I found instances, and yes, I know this is a beta and graphical things happen, but I saw where pixels didn't load right. More than half my planet was black. Didn't really have that during gameplay itself, but like some of the cinematics to get in between, the game kind of struggled with itself.
Yeah, one of the biggest areas, like you said, some of the worlds, but one of the areas that I really noticed it was on the loading screens when you were heading into a Crucible match, and your ship up around the edges of the wings and even the nose of the ship, it would be very pixelated. I mean, we're talking like 8-bit. You can see the square pixel and very jagged. And again, it's a beta. It's not our real live version that we're actually going to get to the game. So, there's probably a lot of cleanup that Destiny's done on the backside for all that. But again, you've got the console versus the PC group, and that first impression, this is the first time we're ever seeing this game on PC. And I've been a console guy for absolutely as long as you can think. Console was my very first gaming system that I was ever on back in the old school golden era. And I also played video games on the PC. But I'm not really the standard. I'm more of a hybrid. You've got your very hardcore console guys, you've got your hardcore PC guys, and then you've got guys like me and you who will play both. We seem to have a good balance between both of them, I think. And honestly, for the PC, for me, there were aspects of the game that I really loved on PC, but ultimately, I'll stick console because it's what I know, it's what I love, and that's where our friends are. So one of the biggest things that I saw that could really damage the PC group is those few little bugs that people saw up front during the beta. That's going to be a bad taste in their mouth already, ready to go into the game, and they're going to be super critical when that game first releases.
Yeah, I mean, they will be. I mean, I will be. I do plan on getting the PC version someday.
Yeah,
someday. But playing the console version, along with the comparison between the two, you have those that they've been wanting the longest of time to get away from a controller to go to keyboard and mouse. And this was the first time I was able to use keyboard and mouse with the game itself.
Same, yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. It was a different level of play, a different precision, different movements. I felt like a brand new Guardian in that I couldn't figure out how to melee the first time I hopped in the game, so I kind of just smashed my keyboard.
Yeah, I was like, all the buttons.
But yeah, I mean, and that's a whole nother area where, they're like, oh, you play keyboard and mouse, you pleb, or, you're still playing controller. Right. Oh, bad you, right. You peasant. But it's whatever's to your play style. Really, I mean, there's people that jumped over PC betas like, I'm not liking the keyboard, so they grabbed their controller and they played just fine. They did great in PvP, yeah. Or those that they hopped right over to PC and they grabbed the keyboard and mouse and they just wrecked PvP.
So I have to say I legitimately want to like the keyboard and mouse. I love first-person shooters with keyboard and mouse. I started back in the day when Quake 3 Arena was coming up, and it was very popular. That game was very fast-paced, and it became a huge tournament game. So the keyboard and mouse was very comfortable for me, and that's kind of what this game really started to feel like. You had that fast pace, and it became kind of natural, but unfortunately, my mouse just isn't that good, and I don't have a good gaming mouse right now, and this one kept dipping in the Crucible matches, so it just didn't feel right. I actually went pleb and played with my old controller, and it was still fun, though. I didn't have any desync issues like some people were saying. It was pretty much just like playing on the console, except you had a way better experience, honestly. I think the PC version of Crucible, in my book, outranks console, not because the graphics are better. It felt more competitive, and I like that. Yeah,
I mean, I think that has to do with the actual the patches that came in itself, that we fought through and we had to deal with in the console beta, and they were already working on most of the patches. I mean, let's be honest, we were playing an E3 version of the beta on console, but then they took some of the stuff we told them, and they added it in the game, and my goodness, they added it at the just right amount. A sprinkle of this, a little bit of that, not overdoing this, and it turned out fantastic. I mean, there wasn't one thing where I thought, well, okay, this is too much. Come on, guys. Or, man, this is taking way too long. Everything felt great.
Yeah, it felt very balanced, which that's something that we haven't seen in the Crucible for a long time, I don't think. It has been either one side of the ditch to the other, it seems, with Bungie over the last couple of years. The metas that we've seen over the last couple of years have just been really extreme. This one felt good. You didn't see a lot of just being completely overpowered, I don't think. Either PvE or Crucible. It seemed to have a lot of good utility use between all the different classes. There was still tweaking and things that I would like to see happen, but all in all, I think what they did with the patches and brought it to the PC group, they did a spot-on job. They brought it just at the right time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that plays into our experience that we had on console in the PvE realm. I popped in a match and I throw a grenade or use my ability, and it was probably half the match before I wait for those abilities to recharge.
Oh yeah, it was like 5 years later.
It was 5 years. I was already at the boss. Come on, and let alone your supers themselves. Supers took forever to charge, and playing into some of the weapon drop. The weapon, the ammo drop was great if you have a primary element, or you had your heavy ammo that you spawn the map with, and maybe just maybe you get one heavy ammo drop. Well, they balanced it out very well in the PvE. Your supers came back at a good, decent time. They weren't taking too long. They weren't, coming too fast, especially even if you were killing a lot of dudes. It still used it maybe 2 or 3 times in that strike that we played. And the heavy ammo, even though we used it quite a bit, I didn't seem overwhelmed by it. But I knew to conserve it just the right amount.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the heavy ammo was too much. It was definitely way better than it was for the console. The console was almost non-existent. So the one thing that, to me, it's the heavy ammo. I just never really used it. I kind of forgot about heavy ammo, honestly. The the play style of PvE, it was much better than console. It didn't feel slow like it did previously. And I go back to my original thought for the console beta is Bungie has got to figure out a way of disconnecting what they do for PvE has to match PvP. I think that mind somewhere down the line has got to be split. If you sacrifice something in PvE, it shouldn't hurt PvP. And if you sacrifice something for PvP, you shouldn't hurt PvE because they're two separate worlds. PvE is meant to go group with your friends and go raid. And sometimes people want to go in and be super chill and just relax and go explore and have fun. Other times people want to get in and go grind for things. And then you've got PvP players who have that same mindset. Sometimes, long day after work, you just want to hop in, go hang out with your friends, go shoot some guns. And then you've got your real hardcore group that wants to hop in, be competitive. And I think that comes down to Bungie trying to bring these patches in and make a good recharge rate for your abilities, have a good ammo drop system, and have a just overall feel that makes PvE fun and challenging, but doesn't really hurt the PvP play too much and pull away from the competitiveness and kind of the new realm that we've got.
Right. And even, going through the strike in the first mission we play, when playing on the console itself, I felt like the enemies I was shooting against were kind of bullet sponges. I mean, we saw that same thing in much more effect in Destiny 1 beta, but they really bounced out. I felt like even though I had to put some bullets into them, I didn't need to put my entire clip into one dude, going through there, and it felt really balanced. The strike, the boss area, even though I think they did some modifications there on his health, his attributes, but overall, good job, Bungie.
Yeah, I say good job, Bungie. I think they've really nailed an A+ for their efforts. They've really the community, and I think they've taken that feedback and really tried to make a game because they're kind of on center stage right now. They've got a big group of people that are hungry, and this Destiny community has been a turn and burn group ever since the game came out. It was a release back in 2014, and as soon as people got a hold of it, it was kind of this broken mess, and Bungie was always kind of behind the curveball. So they've got a big stage to really represent and present a game that is ahead of the ball and that people get content on a regular basis so they can chew through it. They've got a good balance of PvP. They've got the Crucible stuff. They've got raids. They've got the strikes. They've got story now. So I think Bungie is really doing a good job of bringing all that together. I think one of the biggest things in the beta that I saw is that people are still favoring kind of their old play styles. If you look, a lot of what we ran into for a few of our matches was if you're low on health, you jump and try to evade and turn and burn and get away from that person. And the jumping, or even relying on just one specific set of weapons, doesn't work in Destiny 2 anymore. It's not meant to. There's supposed to be a utility to it, I think. And I'll take the Hunter, for instance. You used to be able to put your Bones of AO on and have this crazy triple jump. You were super fast and you were able to, duck and weave your way out of a lot of instances. Not the case anymore. If you start jumping in D2, then it's like Duck Hunt. Where's the laser beam? And there he is, and you're gone. So that's one thing that I really saw is a lot of people seem to kind of favor specific weapons still, and they still kind of favor that old game style.
Yeah, I mean, we do got to take it all with a grain of salt. I bet they'll still make some adjustments based on the PC beta that we'll see come the actual release here in less than 7 days. for the PvP. But absolutely, even though they had that time to create stuff, we still saw people favoring certain guns, and we'll continue to see that. But hopefully, Bungie is on much more on the alert of how they can balance it and not nerf it into the ground where it will never see the light again.
Yeah.
Another change that I think was helpful, but it may hurt in a way, is how they've redone the kill points. If you touch somebody and they go around the corner and somebody just outright murders them, you still get a kill point. Great. Feel good about yourself. You helped.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good. But along with that, Shaq's in the background awarding you for medals and all that. I heard of several pro players, and even people that would get beat by a pro. They were getting we've ran out of medals type situation. They need if they're going to go that direction, they need to have plenty of rewards to where you would have to really be sweating it hardcore for the entire match and do everything possible to get all the medals. So, you can't be halfway through the match. Oh, you got all the medals. Oh, done. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's one area that maybe they missed the mark on a little bit. That's something that I always liked from Destiny 1 is there were some very grindy, sweaty matches out there that, if you wanted to go play competitive, you had to work for every kill you got. And when you got those medals and you got those kills and those achievements, it was a very rewarding time. Sometimes it's very fitting at the same point. But all in all, I think Destiny 1 was a very rewarding game from Crucible. D2, you're right. It's kind of like somebody opened a candy bag and just started like throwing all the candy on the floor and everybody gets a piece. If I was playing a match and I'm out playing hardcore, I want to go do the best I can, and I'm murdering people like you say, and one guy taps somebody with one shot. Why does he get the same amount of points that I do? Or why does he get that kill even though I did the work? Or vice versa. If I'm the guy on the other end and I just tap somebody one time and another person kills him, why should I show that I got a kill when really all I did was take a little bit of health away? Come on, Bungie. Kind of questionable.
Yeah, it goes into the participation. There's a good balance to it. We'll see if they can nail it as we go into the actual PvP or months from now. As I predict, there will be PvP balances coming out within the first month or so, because they'll find
absolutely
something. So along with this, the changes that they did, we didn't feel there wasn't the need to travel as a pack. Now, you'd still get beat if you went 2-on-1, but there wasn't the necessary need to always travel in a pack to make sure you win. You could send off groups of people, and then that smaller group could then split up and go in separate ways for just a little bit and reconvene.
Yeah, that was a nice feeling. In the console beta, it was very much you have to stick together because it's going to take both of you to take these people down, or 3 of you or 4 of you, how whatever version of it, the Crucible you were playing. In this one, it kind of came pretty natural playing Control. We played a lot of it because it was a new map. We hadn't seen it yet. We'd play competitive in the console version. It was a lot of fun, but I wanted to check out the new map, which was great. I'm very jealous that it's PC only. But it was nice to kind of have a little bit of freedom again in Crucible to go, all right, team member B is going to take care of this side of the house. Team member A is going to be able to roam over here on this side of the house and have a little bit more of a dominant presence on the Crucible field. It wasn't the 3 of us had to just completely stick together on everything that we went. Not saying that team shotting people didn't help, because it did greatly, but I didn't feel like I was being overwhelmed every single time. Now, I go back to my original thought is, if you're playing with a team and they don't work on their 1v1 kills, if they're losing those 1v1 battles, no matter how good the rest of your team is, you're going to lose your Crucible match.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to play and fight those 1v1s. And if you're low on health, don't be that guy that says, I can do it, I can kill him, and you go down. because that then turns it back over to the other team, even if you're playing control. One thing I noticed for this is it's always a fight for B. Those other control points are always taken. They're instantly yours. And if you go to B and you're the guy that's one-on-one and you lose it, you're instantly behind the curveball.
Yeah. I mean, and that goes into just how Destiny is made, and they fixed that from the console beta into the PC beta, where it caused you to actually fight for those 1v1s because you were doing a lot of 1v1 before. Before that, there was a majority of my firefights that were big group, firefights, big group firefights. The entire time, people would keep cycling into it, people would keep dying, and the firefight would go on for a good minute of just guns firing this one small area because people would die, people keep shuffling in. But I saw there was a lot of 1v1 fights in there, and absolutely right.
Yeah.
You lose that 1v1 fight, and you've automatically put your team behind. So you need to learn to.
Yeah, definitely. All in all, I think Bungie's done a good job. The patches came in just at the right time. It felt way more balanced, not just from gameplay, but the classes themselves. The Titan, the Warlock, both very team-oriented. Even the Hunter, even though he really doesn't have a class skill that says, hey, I'm going to buff this guy or I'm going to put a shield up for this guy, the fact that his special skill is an evade move and it either reloads a melee charge for him or it reloads his weapons, that could be a win for your team, because if that guy that is playing a Hunter good at evading, then that's a win for your team, because he may be able to evade in a 1v1, close in, melee a guy, get a kill, and still have a full reload on his weapons and be able to take another guy out before he goes down. So the Hunter is always going to have kind of that rogue feel to him. It's part of the class. It's part of the lore of that class. He's not meant to be a team captain per se. He's a good control guy, and he's kind of a rogue in general. They're meant to be that way. But all in all, I think they did a good job with balancing the classes. The overall feel of how the Titan played with everybody with the shield. In the beta, the Warlock with either the weapons buff or the heal, that came in crazy handy. And then playing with the Hunter, having the triple jump, having the evade, I think it was just it was a mix of everybody. So
yeah, I mean, if anybody benefited from our increase in recharge rate, it was the Hunter, because with his now increase in recharge of dodge, he actually becomes a very good lone wolf at that point. He can go in, he can harass, he can then escape if he needs to. Not necessarily get a kill, but he harassed him long enough and then escaped and allowed the Titan Warlock to come and team up and take that objective. I would say that the Hunter benefited the most from the fixes that Bungie put on from console to PC.
Yeah, absolutely. There were plenty of times while I was playing with you guys, running in towards B and had a skip grenade with me, chunking the skip grenade right down the hallway, and it was enough to kind of deter people away from charging for B. So you get a little bit of damage off, and then when they come around the corner, if I wasn't actually up there at B, you guys were already there. Their health is already kind of melted away, or some of their shield, and bang, you've got a quicker kill. So yeah, I think the Hunters, all in all, good job, Bungie. You guys made them a little more team oriented, but you still kind of kept them a lone wolf, which I like. And what I really like is that grenades are actually useful again in the Crucible. They weren't just watch, look at this little pretty ball of lightning roll past me. It actually seemed like they killed things again.
They were actually lethal. It wasn't like I was throwing confetti balls anymore, at the enemy. Yeah. I ran the Titan, and I ran Fist of Havoc, and my spike grenades the first couple matches got more kills. I was surprised at. I would lay them down a corridor, and I would actually get kills with the stupid things. And I was getting spike grenades too. Warlocks with their Axiom bolts, I was getting killed by them. They chased me around. I was actually terrified when they chased me around.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, you actually see this purple ball of at you, and I was legitimately worried that it was actually going to kill me, which I wanted to test a couple of things at one time. I actually stood and waited just to kind of see how much damage it did. And one Axiom Bolt took all shields off and like half health. So it actually does a lot of damage. Skip grenades for the hunter, same thing. They actually did a lot of damage, which is nice again. It's not, I really feel like the console failed in that area, because before, really the only thing grenades came in useful for was if somebody was hiding behind something, you toss a grenade and it may get them to come out so you can shoot them with your gun. That's really what a grenade felt like in the console beta.
Yeah, I mean they were just flush them out because people saw a little icon on the screen.
Yeah.
But with that, you know, I threw a grenade, and being used to Destiny 1, I would mentally think about the seconds be ticking down, and I go to sit there and spam the grenade button again. I go, oh, I'm still recharging. But it wasn't as bad as we saw in the console beta. Okay, that's not bad, you know. And we may have thought we saw a lot of grenades happening, but it was just because people were dying, and you come back with, well, if you're a Titan, you come back with 2 grenades.
Yeah,
that's what was silly. You know, it was fun, but also silly at the same time. So I think increasing damage on it was the correct choice, while slightly increasing the recharge rate on the grenades. That's what they needed to do to balance it out. They didn't need to do both. We didn't need to have another D1 where it's, you know, stick your grenade up, you're dead. You know, this one it hurts, but it didn't kill you.
Yeah, I hope that meta never comes back. Oh, bane of my Destiny existence right there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the last points we kind of complained about in what we saw in the console was our supers. You know, we play Control and we go, you know, even if you're killing halfway decently, getting some good points in, capturing points and objectives, your super would come around the last 30 seconds of the game. Oh, I got a super. Oh, let me use it. Or, you know, you have this one super and you're only going to have it this one match. So it comes down the last 30 seconds. Everybody and their brother pops up super.
Literally everybody. You can see Gunslinger and Nova Bomb. You just hear them all go off at the one time.
Right. Whereas, you know, what we played in the PC, there'd be a couple matches I got 3 supers.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, plenty of times.
You know, as long as you're getting the kills in, and this helps with the going back to the, you know, get your kill assist and your kill points, because you still get an increase to your super bar there. So I can see how that plays into that part. But even though I was getting 3 supers a match, and people, if they killed me a lot, they were getting supers just as much, it didn't seem overpowered. You know, there wasn't any time where like a super would constantly be going on the map. You'd have a couple dudes, if they played it right, they'd pop it, and you'd wait a while until the team had their supers back again. So you had a window of opportunity.
Yeah, that felt very balanced again, which was nice. You know, there were definitely some clutch moments that I felt that if you had a super, probably could have turned the tide a little bit for your team. Maybe you were a couple of points behind. You've got 2 or 3 bad guys sitting on one of the control points, or maybe around the area, and you've got somebody like a arc staff, or you get somebody that is a panic fist and they're able to sneak in. Boom, you've just wiped out 2 or 3 guys, and maybe you've got just enough time to clutch that win. Those moments felt very fun and rewarding because we had a few of those. There was one where I went in and played the Titan. I had a Havoc Fist. I flew up over the top. Right, he was standing, came through the doorway. 2 guys right there on the base, and boom, right in the middle. Took him out. We only had a few seconds left, and you guys got a couple more kills. We clutched the match. We came back from being down, which felt very good. So to me, that really means that there is some competitiveness again in the Crucible, and it's not going to be one-sided with anybody using this absolute god-rolled weapon that will just melt your face off, or sticky nades, or you're going to see supers every 5 seconds. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's going to bring a new level of strategy, which I really like. And one of the coolest things that I think they did with Control is making B flag a control to dominate the game. I think with the new grenades, it's going to force us to have those engagements, because you can't just really stand back and wait anymore. If you want to win the game, they're kind of forcing you into that mode of if you want it, you got to go get it. So I think that's cool. I think Bungie's done a good job.
Yeah, agreed. So far, very impressed. I mean, we'll see once the actual game release and the small morsel that we have been given as the beta. What expanded beyond that? We only got a taste of 8 different primaries, same amount of elementals or elemental weapons, and 5 different heavies.
Yeah.
I hope and pray that number is exponentially higher, especially when it comes into our meta weapons. I hope the meta weapons are wide ranging. I hope the exotics aren't OP when it comes to PvP.
Yeah.
They need to be OP in PvE. Don't get me wrong, they do need to be, because they need to be special. Just like we had our galleys and our icebreakers, but they need to be more than that. They need to be, the number needs to be more. And so, I mean, we'll see come Tuesday. Come Tuesday.
Yeah. It can't get here fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't get here fast enough. We've got so much content to look at, though. I mean, if you look at the timeline and what they're doing, we've got the release of September 6th. We have maybe 3.5 months before our first DLC. It was talked about that our first DLC is going to be the Curse of Osiris. I mean, we've only got 3 months to play before we hit a brand new portion of the game. It's absolutely insane how much content we're going to have. I think it's going to be one of those where we're kind of brain overloaded. We're going to have so much to do. I think people are going to kind of get lost in that. I think you're gonna have your content creators, you're gonna have your streamers, and you're gonna have your diehards who are out there burning through the game as fast as possible. But what I've heard from a lot of the big YouTubers and some of the other smaller content creators is because we've got so much story now. We're talking 55 plus hours of story versus D1's 10 or 12. Insane amount of story. Is their content is going to be very story oriented. So I think that's probably going to play into how people play the game and look at it as well. So much content. It's crazy.
Yeah. We'll see. I hope this release of D2, we have what was always been entered in every great MMO is a long, not boring, but a long, good process of you have to spend this time, enjoy the story, enjoy the gameplay to get where you're going to be. And the raid at the end is not something you can hit in your first 10 hours.
No, definitely not.
Something that you'll have to spend 20, 25, 30 hours of gameplay of you grinding it out to get decent gear to start your first raid, start your first strikes. We'll see if Destiny 2 goes that way come this time around.
I really hope it does. Both of us are big MMO fans, and I kind of like the direction they're going and where they're bringing this thing. So that pretty much wraps up the show for this evening, guys. Definitely, Victus and I want to know your thoughts, what you guys think of the beta. So drop a comment down below. We really do hope that the game releases well. With everything that's going on, it looks like it's just going to be a absolute nuclear bomb that blows everything out of the water. Super hyped. I can't wait for it to get here. I have got all of next week off, so I will be streaming pretty much every day. So you guys hop in. You can find me over at twitch.tv/detachedgaming. Victus will be on as well. So check us out in our social space. We will be out on Twitter quite a bit. I'll be out on YouTube a bunch. Victus is around as well. I'll drop all those links in the description down below. You guys are always awesome. I enjoy making the content. You guys seem to enjoy watching the content. So if you like the video and like the content, a subscription, a like, and a comment is always appreciated. Share the video because it does help the channel grow. You guys all stay awesome. And Victus and I will see you guys in the next episode.